Hey, what's up everybody? BDL44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so everything's worked out on my end. Feeling good. Everything in my personal situation is straightened out. Now I get to talk about the Lakers. And to be honest with you, very good news came our way in regards to our coaching situation. Scotty Brooks and Nate McMillan have joined JJ Redick's coaching staff, which I think is a real blessing because he really needs that type of foundational support as it pertains to this coaching situation. You know, he's never been a coach before. We know what he's good at. But as far as some of the intricacies of helping his process along while he's trying to learn on the fly, he needs coaching. You know what I mean? As it pertains to becoming a professional head coach in the NBA, it's not as simple as just, you know, digging in with the youngsters and writing plays and calling timeouts. There's so much more to it than that. And a lot of that stuff you don't know until you get it on hand, so that he has two people next to him that really know. A guy like Nate McMillan, who's been a head coach in this league for since I was a kid, basically. He's had jobs since he left being a player back in the day with Seattle. Then he moved on to Portland, was there for a while. I think he went on to Indiana, was there for a while. So that's so important. And then Scotty Brooks, and we know, was the OKC coach for Russell and KD and James Harden back then. I believe that was he states back all the way back then and was with the OKC Thunder as a head coach for, my guess was like almost 10 years. He was there for a long time. So, you know, this is somebody, the two guys that I think are going to be intricate to JJ Redick's coaching performance. I think they're going to help him with some of the things that you just need to be taught. You know what I mean? And so I'm excited about it. And another thing that I think made me feel pretty confident was just the pictures. I didn't see any footage, but just pictures of JJ Redick down there with the young fellas, getting his familiarity on with those players, and the look on some of their faces looked like they were having a good start to the practice process. So, you know, I'm excited about what he can do with these players. Even though we're not bringing in an entirely new team, you are most definitely bringing in somebody who's going to use that team in a way that Darvin did not, which can give you the dynamic of a new team. And so that is something that I think we should be pretty optimistic is a good thing. We talk about what Max Lewis and Max Christie, Jalen Hood-Schifino, the opportunities that I'd imagine they're going to get are not the ones they had last year. You know, and Dalton Knecht. You know, I'm curious to see how ready is Dalton. He was a 4-year guy from Tennessee, spent 3 years somewhere else, and then finished his career at Tennessee and made a big jump last year. So that's a curious player to have when you consider what his strengths are, which is elite scoring from pretty much everywhere. He is a real scorer, and that's what's exciting me. I don't want to overrate him because obviously I haven't seen him. I didn't pay attention to Tennessee at all. So I only know from highlights and listening to others talk about him, doing a little homework on him and all of that. Kind of gave me an understanding of what type of player he can potentially be. But the athleticism, the explosiveness, the poise that he has when he's being collapsed on defensively, he's a real weapon. Now, whether or not he has that killer instinct, I'm not certain. I'm not gonna be certain. Sometimes guys can score a hell of a lot of points, but they just not killers. So we're gonna find out if Dalton's a killer or not. But I'm optimistic that at the very least, he's not gonna be gun shy. He is not gonna be gun shy. And so I'm excited about that. And you know, another thing that I think is fairly acceptable, not acceptable, but what's the word? I have nice optimism about. We signed Bronny James to a 4-year deal, $7 million a year. Obviously, he hasn't earned that necessarily. When a guy is drafted at the back of the draft, that's not something you're going to see very often. Although I have seen people signed to deals without necessarily having been even drafted. So it's not completely unprecedented, believe it or not. But when you talk about what he looks like right now in terms of his taking care of himself, the condition that he's in, this looks like a real athlete right there, man. A real athlete. I think he's going to surprise some people with what he's capable of doing. You're not going to find many people 6'1" they're going to get off the ground like him. That's what I will say. If nothing else, this boy is going to be explosive, both on the defensive end and the offensive end. Chase down blocks. You talk about having a 6'1" guy with the ability to chase down a layup and block it, just like his father. I've seen him do it. I have seen him do it. So while it may be nepotism that's letting him in, the reality is the genetics are there for him to be a good athlete. And that's what people need to kind of let their minds into to accepting that this is, it's not like nepotism when some dude's son can't do the job. This is a guy who was given his father's genetics. We wish he would have gotten his father's height, but he got his father's genetics. And so I think the optimism of him being able to be an explosive athlete, intelligent athlete, I think that the base for him to develop is there, and I think he has more tools than your average person who are going to be coming off the street given an opportunity. You know what I mean? He's going to have more tools because of them genetics. So that's what I have to say, man. I don't think this is going to be a revisiting of Giannis's brother. I don't think so. I don't think we're going to have a Thanasis Antetokounmpo type of situation with this particular player. I'm a firm believer that when you are 6'1" and you can leap like this kid can leap, and you've been around the game as much as he has, at the very least, you should be able to hold your own against second and third units. At the very least, in the NBA or in the G League, he should be able to hold his own. And we're going to see how good he actually is or how bad he may be. But as far as him being an athlete, he's an athlete. This is not just some guy who happened to be LeBron's kin. He coming in looking like me out here. Can't really ball, but get an opportunity. No, Bronny is somebody that you believe you should be able to teach the game at a high level, and he's been working on his game for a long time. It's not like you starting from scratch. This is somebody who knows what he's doing in most situations on a basketball floor. So I'm not mad at it. I understand who, many may be, and they have a right to be, I'd imagine, but in this type of situation, I think the person may be really qualified, and may be able to develop. You're catching him early enough too. You're catching him at 20 years old. So I don't even know if he's 20. Is he even 20 yet? I don't even know Bronny's 20 yet. So it's a good thing, man. I'm excited about the young fella. I'm happy to see him in the uniform. I've never heard him being called LeBron James Jr. Obviously his name is LeBron James Jr., but I've never seen that until he got to the pros here. So I like seeing James Jr. on the back of the jersey. I think it's rather classy how that's all set up. I love the photos that I saw of Bron, his wife, and of course our young player there alongside one another. I thought that those were some real classy pictures, real strong pictures. So I just love it, man. I love it. Maybe it's because I'm a black guy and you don't see us have these type of opportunities in life too much, where we get to play basketball with our sons or something like that, or have so much power that we can demand a nepotism process. Like, in some weird way, it does provide a certain level of hope for black people. It really does in this country, when things weren't always very favorable for us, to say the least. So I guess that is something that I probably can't share with too many, I'd imagine, but it does feel good to see some things fall in that direction, see black folks in a good position. So not to say that we haven't been in good positions before, but there's still so many of us not. So I think it's encouraging. It shows us what could be possible. And maybe gifts have a lot to do with that. Maybe you can't do that if you're not gifted with the things LeBron James was gifted with. But just the same, hope is what the word is. So yeah, man, that's excellence for you. Black excellence is a good thing, I'd imagine. It's healthy for our country. I just hope that it doesn't set a precedent that everybody should be allowed this opportunity, because the reality is, if Bronny wasn't as qualified as he is, this would be a much bigger problem. If he didn't have the athleticism naturally that he has, and he hadn't been working on his game all his life with the intention of being a pro, that would be a problem. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not mad at it, man. And I think about, what comes to mind for me right now is Gigi Bryant, and how much of a special basketball player she was turning out to be. And I just wish she would have been able to survive that so she could live to have a day like this where she's getting drafted like that. That was crushing, obviously losing everybody on that flight, but just to single out Gigi in the sense that she was really on her way to being a very special basketball player. And in a time when the WNBA is really starting to take off, she would have been coming in probably around now. She probably would have been coming in the same draft class or in around this draft class that the stars are coming in right now, the Caitlin Clarks. And you know what I mean? That kind of thing. And Gigi would have been a bigger star than all of them, to be completely honest with you, just off the strength of who she is, or was, unfortunately. So that's why for me, it's like it's a different set of thoughts that come to mind for me as a Laker fan, knowing that Bron is getting a chance to play with his son, that his son was drafted to the Lakers. A part of me feels great that this is happening in our uniform. I kind of wanted to see this, you know? I wanted to be able to see this every day. So that's kind of how I look at it, man. Maybe the path to it happening may not have been your favorite thing, you know, to see. But now that we're here and it's all been done, I'm actually glad it's being done in a Laker uniform instead of a Knicks uniform or Cleveland Cavaliers. I would love to see Bronny develop too. I would love to see him become his best self. I don't know what that looks like, but I'd like to see it, man. And if he could turn into something really good, that would be awesome, because he's going against the naysayers, man. There's so many people that don't believe he could turn into anything. So many people that are writing him off as a low-level role player. I would love to see him turn into a special basketball player. I think that's a good thing when you consider where he's come from. You know, the type of stock that he comes from. You can respect that he has put forth so much effort in trying to live in the shoes and following the footsteps of his father. He's not out here wilding, doing things that would disrespect his name. He's not out here putting his chest out saying, I'm the best guy ever. Obviously, he came back from the heart surgery, which doesn't get enough praise for him being able to return from that so quickly, which is another reason you should be optimistic that he should be able to excel. So, you know, I think it's a good young fella. A good young fella to have in this situation. It's the right character for the type of situation. Just like his dad, he seems like he's built for what his path is. Seems like he was raised right, all the different stuff. So, for me, I'm excited. I don't know about everybody else, but I'm hopeful that he could turn into more of what we think he's going to turn into. I'm hopeful that he can actually be an intricate part of our team in the future, well after his father retires, that he's so good that we don't even want to move on from him when the contract is up. I hope that. And it's up to him to put in the work and, you know, just do whatever he's capable of doing, whatever that would be. So that's really what I have to say, man. The path here wasn't the greatest, but now that we're here, I think it is a good thing. And hopefully, we will see Bronny James shine in a Laker uniform for years to come. Or at least the next 4. 3 with a team option. We got a team option on that one. You know, player option and everything else, but we got a team option on that one. But, you know, I think at the end of the day, this is a good kid, man. I think he's going to find his way in the league. And, you know, I don't think he's going to be the worst player in the league either. For those who think that he's coming in as the worst player in the league because of his circumstances, I definitely don't think that. He has some defensive gifts. He has a shooting ability. I think his shooting ability is maybe more naturally formed than his father when his father was his age. LeBron had to develop into a shooter. I think Bronny's probably a more natural shooter, if I'm being completely honest with you. Of course, LeBron James is a shot maker of the highest order. But in terms of shooting, I think he comes in with a bit more natural ability than his dad does in that way. So maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. But yeah, there's some stuff there, man. There's some stuff there. And hopefully people aren't wigged out or weirded out by just the overall process of this young fella coming in as his dad's son. You know, a lot of people are going to they're going to feel awkward trying to teach him, trying to work with him, trying to play with him. And there's going to be some haters who are going to try to flagrant foul him and stuff like that. You know it's coming. That goes without saying. That is something that he and LeBron Sr. are going to have to be mentally prepared for it. So it's going to be a different vibe on the basketball floor when somebody hard fouls LeBron's son. We ain't never seen LeBron want to fight anybody. In his career, he's been extremely good about that kind of stuff. But this is different. This is different. And I think people are going to try to get to LeBron by way of his son. And we, JJ Redick and the Laker organization, need to anticipate that. I'd love to be wrong, but I need us to consider that before the season starts, that somebody is going to try to flagrant foul him with the intention of trying to get LeBron James to be riled up. Some of LeBron's haters, they're going to take it out on this boy. See it coming. There's a lot of them out there. Hell, the media has groomed a lot of minds to hate LeBron. And so this is when it can start to be a real issue, to be honest with you. Now, so that's what I want to say. But I think most people, in listening to a lot of people talk, I think a lot of them like Bronny. Even some of the people who don't like Bron think Bronny's a great kid and don't think that he's whatever they think his father is. So I'm optimistic it could work out for Bronny. But just the same, you got to watch out for those few. Some of them are just strong competitors, others are haters, who are going to flagrantly foul him with the intention of trying to get him to slip. So that's just something that's on my mind right now. But all in all, guys, I think we're going to be all right, man. I like where we're headed. Got to finish this coaching situation. You definitely want to continue to add more elements to the team in that way. Like I said, a $2 million center would be great. Maybe some type of Bruno Fernando or something like that. Maybe we can make a trade like that. I think it'll help the team. But I don't think there's too many things that the Lakers can do right now that are going to get them the bang for their buck in terms of their money in the trade market. I just don't think the trade market is going to be extremely favorable to us right now. And I think we're going to have to live with that. I think that's just going to have to be what it is. So I'm not mad at Rob Pelinka. Sometimes it's not what you don't do that makes it so that you're doing a bad job. It's the things that you do that can sometimes put you in a position to really be making mistakes. People's perceptions of whether or not you're doing enough don't have anything to do with you looking at a bunch of stuff that you shouldn't buy and purchasing it. And that's what I'm saying to you guys. So I think Rob's doing an okay job. And another thing, is just a thought that came through my mind a little earlier, is that there are going to be GMs in this situation that Rob's in that are going to be able to get something out of nothing. But that's equivalent to Kobe going for 81. You can't get mad at Rob Pelinka for not being able to do the equivalent of what Kobe Bryant did on his very best day. It takes special greatness to be able to pull off special moves. And I'm not saying Rob doesn't have that greatness. I'm just saying that that's what makes that so very special. When people can do some of the stuff like Jerry West did and some of the big moves that have been made that just were such great moves. It's not everybody can do that. So I think a lot of people are asking for Rob to score 81 like that's something that's done every day. Or they're not aware that that's what would be required to get a great move right now out of the Lakers. It's not a great trade market for our team. It's not a great trade market for anybody that doesn't have a lot of picks. And maybe there would be some great GM mind that could carve together some spectacular trade that makes the Lakers so much better. But that's rare, and that's a rare gift. And if we're holding Rob Pelinka to that standard, you can fire him for not scoring 81. The next guy you bring in probably ain't going to be able to score 81 either. And the guy after that ain't going to be able to score 81 either. So if you got that as the measurement for what success looks like, you got it way too high, friends. And so that's what I think. I want to put that out there. And that's pretty much what I have to say. My name is BDO44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.